guys. Welcome to another week of Evolve. I am so happy to have you here with me, sharing your energy, your thoughts. Thank you for your feedback. Great feedback. I have to say that. I feel really happy to have listeners that are passionate about the content that I'm putting out. Every week you wonder, is this going to connect? And every week I'm never disappointed. I'm so thankful for all of you who take the time to leave notes, messages, call, or text. However you communicate, it is welcomed and appreciated. I am your host, Monette Brann-Natta, and this week we're going to talk about how many no's it takes to get to your actual dream. Now, we all have dreams, and we all think that our dreams should happen. We all hold a thing in our heart that we want to be the truth of our lives. Maybe we come to the dreams later. Maybe these are dreams that are long held since the time we were children or teenagers or young adults. But at some point in our life, it may feel like those dreams are not becoming a reality, not in the way that we want them to anyway. And so we become discouraged. We have all of these amazing people like Paulo Coelho, who, and I'm probably saying the name wrong, but who write about the hero's journey and talk about how it's so important and the universe is always conspiring to help. And it all sounds very sweeping and grand and romantic. And I am one who can be caught up in that romance and majesty. But the truth is, there is so much work that happens because the universe will test you in regards to your dreams. How bad do you want it? And that's what we're going to talk about today. How many no's does it take to lead to your dream or get to your success or inhabit that place that you're holding up in your heart? The instant gratification sometimes can come in releasing or letting go of the spiritual practice or calling you think you might be called to do. And by that, I mean, sometimes it hurts too much to hold on to a dream. And so there's like a relief in saying, you know what, maybe that wasn't for me. Maybe I heard wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. And you're not. You're not, but you are being asked, how bad do you want it? Spiritual callings are heavy. They can often haunt us because we're prone to tying ourselves up in knots and trying to figure out how to manifest them. Ding, totally guilty of that. There's a great strain that you can place on your psyche as we try to accomplish certain things. We forget that it's not for us to accomplish, but for the universe to accomplish. In its international best-selling book, Paulo Coelho says that the universe is always conspiring to help us get to our goals. So I was thinking about that, conspiring. Let's break down the word conspire. To make a secret plan jointly or to commit an unlawful or harmful act was one definition I got, as in they conspired against him. Synonyms to conspire are plot, scheme, plan, intrigue, machinate, collude, connive, collaborate. Informal, to be in cahoots with. They admitted to conspiring to stealing cards. So far, guys, I'm like, well, we're not starting off with a great foot with this word, conspire. And then it flipped, as things often do. Seen as working together to bring about a particular result, typical, that sometimes is typically to someone's detriment, or it can be conspiring to exacerbate a situation. Let's talk about this conspiring some more. Acting together. Working together, combining, uniting, joining forces, focusing on the good parts, maybe ganging up even. So there's a lot going on in the definition of conspire if you're going to look that up. And so I thought, okay, so what is Paulo talking about? The universe conspires. The universe conspires. The universe is conspiring, and not in a nefarious way. The universe is conspiring with us in the positive effort. It's acting together with our energy. It's working together to co-create our realities. We are manifesting together. All of these words have been really tossed about in our language as of the last 10 to 15 years. And we have this new idea. There's a paradigm that shifted, and we now understand that we are partially responsible for our life's fate and destiny. It is not just in the hands of God somewhere, some nebulous God that's out floating in the ether, and that we don't have any say-so in what happens. But there are a few key things that need to happen in order for us to make those manifestations and have that universe conspire with us. So I thought about those words. I thought, man, some of those have a sinister feel. But then I thought, let's step back and realize the universe is loving and benevolent and only responding to our thoughts. Then we now know that conspiring is truly a wonderful thing. Here's the thing, guys. We're not to take on the magnitude of everything that encompasses your purpose all at once. Some of us might get a glimmer of what the dream is or what we're supposed to do, and we think, I've got to now run off into that direction. I've got to make that happening. I myself am a pusher. I'm a bit of an achiever and an overachiever, and that's not a good thing. I'm not bragging on myself. It is exhausting because I think, well, you've got to do this thing, and now you've got to move the ball forward, and now you've got to move the ball forward, and only you can do it. And I micromanage my life. I was speaking with a great friend last week who was telling me about my sign in feng shui and that I'm a metal monkey. And that means that I'm in my head a lot, okay? That means that I'm processing and analyzing a lot. So when I have a goal in mind, I am turning it over and over and over, and I am thinking it has to happen right now. And so many of us, we all have that feeling, why am I not whoever the person we idolize is right now? If we have a person who's a fantastic photographer, we may think, why am I not Annie Leibovitz right now? Or, whomever. So I want you guys to really think about the fact that sometimes it's okay to slow down and to know that you must try other avenues as you're getting to your path. Our egos will trick us into believing that you're happier going in different directions and that they may fulfill you. How many of us, I remember talking to a guest just a couple weeks ago who was in corporate America and left and went into the plant world and holistic healing and medicine. So her ego told her all that money was nice, but her heart told her, I need something else and something that's more fulfilling. So sometimes our egos are tricky. I mean, sometimes our egos are always tricking us to kind of not be our best selves. That's the whole point of the ego. And so some of the things that you may be diverted to will resonate and you'll feel like you have a genuine interest or passion. And you may have a great talent or gift for a certain direction that you're going. But usually, and here's a kicker, guys, these things do not work out. So you may have the perfect job, you think, well, this is what I'll do because it's good money, like our guest a few weeks ago who really enjoyed what she was doing. But what happened was it just doesn't resonate with your spirit, because if you are called to do something differently, and I don't just mean all spiritual calling. So this isn't just all like, granola and grape nuts here where it's just like all magical things. I'm talking about if you're called to do another job, you want to be a photographer, but you're working in corporate America, or let's say you want to open a doggy daycare, but you are a nurse. Everybody can shift and transform from where you are, and it doesn't have to be a spiritual place that you are going. And the irony of that is that when you are transforming or transitioning into that new spiritual or that new place, often it's because your spirit is calling you. But I don't want you to think that it's going to come with this mantle of like, oh, I'm being called to go over here and I'm a magical, it's not that. It is more about what is going to fulfill you in your life. So even though you may be in a profession, it's so important that our quality of life is always being raised and that we are feeling fulfilled where we are. So there is a force that will let you know that you are guided. And for me and so many others, there were doors that I really wanted to go through that were locked. There were times when I thought, well, I've got all the right stuff for this new thing, or why isn't it me? And when I surrendered to who I was and where I was called, that's when the doors really started to open up. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. But it didn't always it wasn't easy for me. I even recall a moment in my life where I knew that I was supposed to do these readings and I knew that I was supposed to work with clients. And I thought it's not really happening for me in the way that I wanted it to. I literally had gone bar to bar, restaurant to restaurant, and door to door, and even gotten a few gigs where I was working at like hookah shops and things like that, doing readings for people, but they would just never last. And I would say, well, I'm spiritually called. I don't understand. Some people outright rejected me. Some people were kind of like a little weirded out, like, oh, who's this girl that wants to come here and do readings? Some people just said no. Some people let it happen for a little bit, but it just never worked. And that was not the way that I was supposed to be doing it. But Lord knows that I tried. And so I thought, well, that's not working. I maybe need my own space. And so I rented a space in a little thrift shop, little boutique thrift shop. And I thought, okay, this will be what works for me. But I was in this horrible energy space and I tried to cure it with feng shui. I tried to like cut off the negative energy. I was like right next to a bathroom. It was a mess. My friend would tell me it was a mess in that regard. And there was a person in front of me and it was just, our energy didn't vibrate and she was like piling more stuff. And I just thought I had created this little like cute place to sit. And the people that came there just didn't like the energy. And I knew it wasn't good, but here I am paying my rent month after month thinking, okay, well, I've rented this space. This must be how it works. That wasn't how it works, but I was being guided into what really did end up working for me. I absolutely now work full time doing these readings, but not in the capacity that I ever imagined it would happen. Not even in the slightest. If you would have told me what I'm doing today, I would be doing, I would have told you you're crazy. I thought it had to be hard. I thought that I had to force it. I had to push it. I had to go beat down the door, beat the pavement. I needed to go rent the shop. None of those things worked out for me. And it didn't feel comfortable or like an energetic vibration. So there are many things in that regard that happen in my life. And when you start on the path that you were born to do, the thing that really has been calling to you, it feels different. When I tried to get Little Seed published, I'd exhausted my resources. I sent it to the company that I dream of being published in one day and that I will be published in one day. And they said, you know what? You need a publicist. You need a agent. And I looked up that, and that was about $8,000 to $15,000 to acquire those people. And I thought, there's got to be a way. And I was guided, and Little Seed got published. And I knew I wanted it to be available for purchase on Amazon and at Barnes and Nobles. That was kind of like a dream I had in my head. But does that mean that I didn't do the right thing because I didn't get it published through the company I would? No, I still hold that company in high regard. I will be published there someday. But that wasn't to be at that moment. So there are times when the universe says, how bad do you want your dream? Do I still want to be published? Sure. Do I want it to be through that company? Absolutely. Will it happen? I guess if I show the universe how bad I want it, it will. But you cannot be discouraged when it seems like something isn't working out for you. And so one of the ways that we're communicated with, here I go again, always communicated with, is with messages from our angels. And the messages are repetitive. Here's the thing. I've had clients say to me, well, Monette, what if I miss a message? What if I don't hear it right? What if I'm asleep the day they're talking to me? Guys, let me tell you something about our angels and the way that they communicate with us. They are repetitive. They are redundant. They repeat themselves. Did I get my point across? It is absolutely impossible to miss your message because they're going to be giving you signs that are very similar over and over and over again to the point where you're going to be like, okay, I got it. I got it. They're really bent on getting you to understand what needs to shift in your life. So here are some tips for getting in the flow of your life's calling. In order for you to be really hearing what your angels are saying and knowing what those signs are pointing to, you need to say, I am open to what my life path should be. That's the key that turns the ignition for the universe to begin to conspire with you. You want to get in that Jeep and drive towards your destiny, you have got to turn that key. The vehicle's going nowhere until you turn the key. The power is literally in your mouth. It's in your words. It's in your head, heart, and hands.